Welcome back to Broken Boys. This is episode 193. I'm Colin.
And I'm Mike.
And yeah.
Moment of silence.
This is not how I was expecting to come to the podcast this week. I'm gonna be completely honest here. But I wanted to start start off with a little comedy routine. Hope you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, when I said go vote, I didn't mean for the 34 time convicted felon.
Nice.
Guys, when I said go vote, I didn't mean for the adjudicated rapist. Guys, when I said go vote, I didn't mean for the guy that's going to be taking the rights of women away from them.
Drummer's going off.
Guys, when I said go vote, I didn't mean for that guy. The racist one. The transphobic one.
The guy in general,
The guy. Yeah.
Thank you. There we go.
But yeah. Yeah.
We'll get into that. For sure.
But before we do, how was your week, Mike?
Such a blessed week. Great week to be on God's green earth. No, in general, the week was, pre-Wednesday. It was fine. Just kind of same old. Didn't really do anything like too notable. Still driving my trucks, in simulations across the red states and California. But we on Sunday we went out to breakfast for my brother's birthday. And it's always nice going out to breakfast. Although I think I confirmed to myself this time around that I'm not really a big fan of biscuits and gravy. I think it's good, but each time I've ordered it, I've always been kind of like, that's it about it. Like it kind of, I don't know. I just think maybe it's not for me, or maybe I just need to try it in like the South, authentic South biscuits and gravy. That would probably be very good. But I kind of wish I got like Vince has gotten me into getting eggs Benedict anytime I go out for breakfast now, because he made a good point that like that's hard to make and might as well get that when you're at the restaurant. So
still never something that I've tried before, but I do have interest.
I would recommend. I'm a sucker for that hollandaise sauce. That stuff is very good. But did that. Went out with him and his friend who came down and stayed the night over here. They came down for like someone else's party as well, but like then we celebrated his birthday. I don't know. It was a weird thing. But basically the only time I got to see him was that morning, so I decided to, suck it up and wake up early. I know, it was very hard. But we did that. That was good. And then today we went out for my dad's birthday, like I mentioned last week. I'm just the odd one out in these couple weeks of birthdays in my family. But we postponed this one a little bit just because his jaw has been bothering him. But he's hopefully he has been feeling better. I feel bad for him. He's had an ear infection, and then his I think that kind of impacted his jaw, making it like hurt a bit. And then his ankle is still not great because he's waiting to get the surgery on that. Yeah. But hopefully by like January-ish he'll be in tip-top shape again. But
Hope so.
yeah, but
Getting older sucks. So,
Yeah, tell me about it. um,
uh,
I'm 23. And but we went out to a little barbecue place tonight. Got myself some I was gonna roll my R's, but I guess I can't right now. Brisket, kind of. Brisket, cornbread, um, a mac and cheese that honestly wasn't that good. It kind of it had like, I mean, I know we've talked about that here before, but you know, like the Cece's Pizza like noodles.
yeah.
It was that texture and watery. It had just cheese sauce on top of it, which to some extent I feel like I have nostalgia for because I remember defending those CC noodles at some point on this podcast. But not the greatest. But the wing, I also got some wings, and those it was just like smoked wings, and you could put the barbecue sauce on yourself or whatever, and those are very good. Um, some jumbo wings. Um, but yeah, honestly, not really all too much on my end here. Just still, same old music. Uh, too much games, a little bit, unlimited games, if you will.
Mm,
And not enough bacon, but
damn.
not
Not even at breakfast.
no bacon at bread. It was just biscuits and gravy. I thought about asking for like some toast as well, but I didn't. But yeah, just trying to keep good sleep schedule and all. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow, which is gonna be good. I don't remember if I talked about it on the pod, but a few weeks ago, or like a month ago or so, month and a half, I got a
Oh,
haircut, and like I didn't go to the normal place I usually do because the barber was busy, and I needed the haircut before the 21 Pilots concert, and
right.
I just went to like a Great Clips, and they didn't like mess it up or anything, but they kept it pretty long.
Yeah.
So I've had a little bit of a probably the longest I've ever had my hair in the back of my head before. But
A mullet.
yeah, it's a little mullety. So gonna get that fixed tomorrow. But yeah, just
Mullets are in right now, Mike. I think
are they
you could rock.
mullet
Yeah,
Mike,
mullet Mike.
mullet Mike,
Magic mullet Mike. Yeah.
magic mullet Mike. Yeah. No, I've kind of liked having my hair on the shorter side, but I don't know. I've thought about having it longer because like I have seen that before with some straight hair. Having it a little bit longer can be something, but I don't know. Yo no sé. Um, that's Spanish for you bilingual folk out there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean not really much else besides the big news. um, but how about you, Colin? How was your week? Maybe pre Wednesday.
Yeah. Prior to prior to Wednesday and really Tuesday even, it was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't do a whole lot that I can remember. Um, just been playing Fortnite. The new season's pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
Started on Saturday last week. It's like another OG season. It's like a month long, and it's nice. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
a shorter battle pass with like a cool map. And, um, the Snoop Dogg stuff is cool. I went there. There was a new Eminem
Hmm.
spot on the map that dropped like yesterday.
Oh, I didn't know about
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's like a little bunker underground, and like there's a mom's spaghetti restaurant underneath there,
that. Nice.
um, and there's a minigun that as you shoot, it raps the lyrics. It's just Rap God as it comes out of the bullets come out of the minigun, which is really funny.
Like in the little intro trailer, and then they kind of were doing that. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that'd actually be the gun though. That's interesting.
it's just funny, but you know, the season's been fun. I was tempted to get like the music pass, but I don't like the Snoop Dogg skin that's in the music pass as much as I like just like the one that you can buy in the shop.
Agreed. I had that same thought like yesterday. I was like, the one in the shop is so much better.
Yeah. I'm tempted to buy that one. I bought the Crip Walk, which is in Fortnite.
Yeah,
I love that emote. That's a great
it
emote.
is a good one.
I've been abusing that this season so far, but
I hope we.
it's
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hope when they add in Ice Spice, they give her a location too called like Schitt's Creek or something.
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you.
I like that. Love that. You're a comedian
Oh yeah,
of great regard.
of great
Um,
caliber.
great caliber.
Yeah.
But did I write anything down? I haven't been looking at my notebook this entire time. I could have been
Wow.
remembering things.
Raw dog in the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. Uh, I've been.
I've been
Oh
on.
yeah, I've been wanting to like play um, Elden Ring again
Mm.
because like I played it for a little while. I never finished it when it like was first coming out and popular. But like every time I go back to one of those games, I'm so fucking bad at it.
Mm.
Um, and it's just like I want to play it real bad, but
Right.
it's just so hard to get into if you're not good at those types of games. So yeah, but you know, in the other video game um, activity up in Fortnite, and then there was the big Stardew update that happened
No.
earlier this year. Finally came to consoles, and we've been playing that. We
Oh,
added some
nice.
cool stuff. Um, I love that game. It's so
Yeah.
relaxing, and just have like a video on in the background, listen to that, and play.
Yeah. I think I've definitely mentioned this to you before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the pod, but I can't do Stardew just because of memories associated with it. It
Yeah,
was like the last thing that was happening in that relationship, and it's just yeah.
yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it a lot when I played it. It's just like I can't do that game anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's just a nice relaxing time.
Yeah,
But
it is.
uh,
When you
yeah.
don't have trauma associated to it, yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, work has been okay, except for the fact that there's a nugget deal going on. It's like
Mm.
$1 10 pieces in the app.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
which is ridiculous. And then the other day there was a $6 nugget deal on top of that because one of the college's sports teams scored some points, so they
Mm.
got free 6 pieces in the app. So, you know, just fun time. Lots of nuggets. Having to refill sauces nonstop.
I
Um,
always feel bad when you talk about these deals because you talk about them like, oh, it's so miserable that like so many people are coming in that I'm just thinking to myself like I should do that deal. It's like
I don't blame people for doing
yeah,
it.
it just
Don't
sucks
get
for
me
you.
wrong. That's a good ass deal. That's
Yeah,
like the $5 meal deal, the $1 nuggets. These deals are great, but
yeah,
God, being on the other side of it, not the best. I tell
yeah.
you. Um, but otherwise, work. I don't know. It's been fine. I haven't been able to go back in the kitchen, despite my attempts. Like every shift I've had to go back there, just because like we have plenty of kitchen people, but nobody to come up front and do service. So it's like,
Hmm.
I guess I'll just stay up here and deal with customers then. But it's okay. Maybe tomorrow. My own manager said maybe tomorrow, so we'll see. But you know, otherwise, I watched a movie the other night
Um,
called Rebel Ridge.
okay, sounds like a Fortnite area.
It does, but it came out. I think it's a Netflix original that came out earlier this year. Um, there were no like real recognizable actors except for Roy from The Office, Pam's ex.
Oh yes, yeah.
But it was good. It's a movie about it's like an ex Marine who who's trying to bail out his brother and then like was a victim of like police profiling and stuff. It's like a
Mm.
corrupt police. It's like a corrupt a small town police department that he has to take down kind of, and it was good. The action was good. The story was pretty good overall. It was a nice little. It was not a little movie. It's like 2.5 hours long, but it was good. I enjoyed myself more than I thought I would, to be honest.
Nice.
And, uh, but that was good. But yeah, I didn't have the will uh, or the drive to listen to anything new this week. But
Yeah.
yeah. But did I write anything else down? I don't think I did. But
I might butt in, and
yeah.
classic me. I did listen to a couple things. Um, did I cut out there?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It sounded okay. Anyways, I listened to a couple things. I listened to well, my friend Vanessa and I, well, along with my neighbors, we were all playing Civ 5, and that's a great game to listen to some music with. And but Vanessa and I specifically were listening to some music together, and she put on an album that was recommended to her from a friend she has in Atlanta, um, and that friend works at like a music venue. So
Uh-huh.
this is like a band that she saw perform live and thought that Vanessa would enjoy, and then Vanessa put it on in the background for us. And it's a band called Improvement Movement.
Uh,
And the album is called Slump. And I listened to it again a few times after that Civ 5 session because it was really good. It kind of had like it's kind of like a Beatles meets Backseat Lovers type feel to it. Yeah, it was really nice acoustic sounding music. There was beautiful vocal harmonies throughout the whole thing. That was mostly what was catching my ear the whole time, and I really enjoyed that. And it's like a really small band too, like probably the smallest I've ever encountered just in the wild, like through word of mouth like that. So it's yeah, I mean, shout out to that album. I really enjoyed it. It came out this year. It's called Slump again. I haven't decided what I'm doing for song of the week, but I might do that. Well, something from there, but we'll see.
mm,
But yeah, I enjoyed that. And then Dane, friend of the podcast, he's been telling me to listen to this album called "Glimmer of God" by Gene Dawson. And I don't really know anything about Gene Dawson except that Quadeca is touring with him right now. Quadeca is opening for him. And I've seen a couple of his album covers before. And I need to give some more listens to this. I've only gave it one full listen last night, but it was good. It's kind of has those Quadeca feels, but also a little bit of Joji in there. There's a lot of like authentic string stuff being put into like these kind of noisy, sad, emo-ish type songs. I don't know how to describe it. But
no.
it was good. It had good production. There was a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I'll have more in-depth thoughts on that by the time we get to the end of the month. But I enjoyed it on my first listen. Um,
Cool.
but yeah, that's all I listened to.
Cool. Well, in
Cool.
music news, Chappell Roan performed on SNL last week.
Oh yes.
She debuted a new song.
Hmm.
I forget what it was called, but it was like a country music,
Hmm.
Dolly Parton esque song,
Okay.
uh, and it sounded good.
That's good.
I'm excited for that to come to streaming services because it was cool vibes, nice vibes. She
Yeah.
sounded great on it, of course. Had those nice like mandolins and um, violas and stuff
Yeah.
playing through, and I love
Fiddles.
that. I love that vibe.
Yeah.
Um, but it was about being a giver in terms of sex, and
Sounds about right.
uh, it's pretty chapel but country, and that's
Yeah.
hey, I'll take it.
Serving country. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but that was cool. Quincy Jones died, which was
Yeah.
not so cool.
Yeah.
Um, he very very big in the music world. Um, I don't have much info or like history with knowing him, but I know that he was huge and influential. If I
Yeah.
remember correctly, he was on Ma's joint, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. It's like he's like hugely influential and has a whole bunch of stuff to his name, but the thing that it sounds like both of us know him for most is being on a John Bellion song. Um, but he is like, yeah, he is like a legendary producer, I believe, and also musician in general. Um, yeah,
Yeah, but I think he was in his 90s, so he lived a long, good
right.
life. Um, but I saw like the weekend and people posting about him and
Mm,
just saying they loved him and everything. So rest in peace to Quincy Jones.
absolutely.
The Grammy nominations came out today, and
Yeah, I have some bullet
uh,
points on this too.
you can take this one away. Then.
Oh, do you want me to do the whole thing?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay.
I'll butt in when I.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I wrote down all the things that I felt were significant to talk about. Just in broad sense, there were three people who were nominated for 7 awards, all of them being very good, being Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, and Kendrick Lamar. All of them have 7 nominations to them, which is pretty sick. And then Chapel Roan also is up for 6, which I think is really cool too. And I think Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter are also up for 6, which I have mixed feelings on both of them. But Chapel Roan's cool though.
What was Kendrick nominated for? Do you remember?
Kendrick got Not Like Us was nominated a bunch. I don't remember if it was in Song of the Year, but it definitely was in Rap Song of the Year and like Rap Record of the Year. And then also Like That with Metro Boomin and Future was
Ooh.
nominated a couple times as well. Um,
If Not Like Us wins a Grammy, it'll be
I think
hilarious.
it was nominated 4 times if I remember correctly. So there's
If,
there's
if it wins all 4 of those, if it wins any of those, a song where Drake gets called a pedophile
yeah.
as when being the owner of a Grammy is hilarious.
That will be around the time of Super Bowl too, I think, right? Don't those usually
So
happen
around
like
there, forward
February-ish?
season.
Yeah. So Drake's still getting pummeled a year later.
Poor kid.
Yeah,
Poor kid.
poor kid. Surprise, surprise. Taylor Swift is up for Album of the Year with Tortured Poets
Uh,
Department. Um, and her song Fortnite with Post Malone got like 5 nominations or something.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah, it was there. Which, in its defense, is one of the better songs on that album, but also not a great album. Speaking
And
of,
21 Pilots had nothing.
yeah, 21 Pilots got nothing. Yeah. Speaking of albums of the year, though, I wrote down all of them. It's a very mixed bag for me. The first thing on there is New Blue Sun by Andre 3000. Did you ever listen to
Oh,
that record?
I did not.
Oh, I it's his. I mean, I know you know what it is, but for if
Yeah.
anyone listening doesn't know, it's his like jazzy flute album. Like it's all instrumental, all production based and all that. And I listened to it. I thought it was fine last year. But I guess it's Andre 3000, so he gets the nomination. Uh, then Cowboy Carter was there too, which I don't think either of us have listened to. Yeah, I don't think.
I think I was meant to start that a couple of times, but I just haven't.
Yeah, that's how I am with a lot of Beyonce albums, to be honest. Um, Short and Sweet, which makes sense that it's being
Yeah.
nominated. I thought it was fine, but
Yeah,
Brat, which I'm happy to see.
that's great.
Spoiler alert, that's my favorite of this bunch. Brat is, I think that'd be great if that one won.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to hold my thoughts on this until my next bullet point. Jesse Volume 4 by Jacob Collier got
Oh,
nominated.
what?
Yeah. I'm going to save my thoughts there for a second. Hit Me Hard and Soft, which is great. I wouldn't be mad if
Yeah.
that one won. I enjoy that album quite a bit. Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess.
Oh, well, yeah.
Also great. And then Tortured Poets Department, which very mid. um, uh,
Very cool to hear that it's all women, mostly women.
Yeah, it's mostly women except for Andre 3000 and Jacob Collier.
Yeah.
But all right, so I just need to talk about Jesse for a second. I don't think this should have been nominated at all. There was a Reddit post literally last night. I think it was on the Fantano subreddit or something. It was asking like, what are like, because there's like Oscar bait movies. What are Grammy bait artists? And
Uh,
people were saying Jacob Collier, and I think that's completely correct, to be honest. And I don't know, this album, I like some stuff on it, but there's also like embarrassingly awful moments towards the back end of the record. Like,
yeah.
li- I would consider myself an enjoyer of Jacob Collier normally, but one of the worst songs I've heard this year is on that album.
Wow.
I remember talking about it when it came out, just like it's insane how awful that is. But I literally had a I don't want to say an argument, but a conversation with someone on Reddit last night. And I was before like the nominations dropped, and I was just like, they were like, I don't really think he's Grammy bait though. And I'm like, his last album that he just released, Jesse Volume 4, has 28 features on it. A lot of them also being, Grammy bait artists like Chris Martin from Coldplay and, Brandy Carlisle, Lizzie McAlpine. They're very all in the sphere of that. But I don't know. I think he is, well, he's obviously very talented. That's one of the things that no one denies about him, but he's kind of bad at writing songs a lot of the time. And I don't know, I feel like this album getting attention like this is gonna, further rub dirt on his name. Because he got nominated for Jesse Volume 3 as well, and people were like, why the hell is that here? And this one's even more like that. So
It'll be like when John Batiste won Album of the
yes.
Year a couple years ago, and nobody fucking knew who he was.
Yeah.
And then he'll win it, and everyone will go, "Who?"
Yeah. On that post, John Batiste, like when it was asking for Grammy bait artists, John Batiste was one of them. So was her. Um, she gets nominated for a lot of things, and everyone's like, who? I only know her from, there's a Daniel Caesar song that features her. I think it's Best Part, and that's a really good song. But yeah, I very mixed feelings on Jacob Collier as usual, but he should absolutely not have an album of the year nod with that album because it's his worst to date. um, but yeah, the rest of the Grammy nods are pretty standard, about what you would expect. Like I mentioned, Not Like Us got a ton, as well as Like That got some. Olivia Rodrigo got one for the Can't Catch Me Now from the Hunger Games soundtrack,
Cool.
which I'm glad to hear because I actually really enjoyed that song more than most of the songs on Guts, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, none for 21 Pilots, but don't you fret, Colin, because not only do we have one for Dave Chappelle, but we also have two for Chris Brown.
Are you?
Woo! Mm-hmm. One of them in like the religious category too.
No.
Yeah, it's
Well,
yeah.
when people do bad things, they turn to religion, and all of their bad deeds are expunged. So,
Name two other examples.
name 5.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. And then the last note I have, I thought this was really funny. There's a best music video category, and ASAP Rocky was nominated for a song that he has named Taylor Swift. Taylor spelled like Tailor. And in the same category is Fortnite by Taylor Swift. And I think that's just funny, those two being nominated together.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Grammys this year are gonna be nowhere near as cool as last year with like Boy Genius and Paramore.
Yeah. I mean,
but Brat, Chaperone, Billy, love to see those guys.
yeah. I mean, I did kind of highlight some of the negatives a lot from what I was saying there, but like there really is a lot of nominations for Charlie, Billy, and Kendrick and Chappell. They're in most of the big categories, which I think is good. It was just the album of the year section that I was like, oh, that's a little weird. Very mixed bag in there.
Yeah, I mean,
but like generally it was just kind of all right. There wasn't anything like, oh my god, why is Yummy being nominated for a Grammy, or ABCDEFU? Like
Yeah,
there wasn't any of those except for the Jacob Collier record, if I'm being completely honest.
that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you know, uh, I do hope Chapel gets plenty. I hope that Billy. I'm sure out of the albums of the year, I assume Billy probably.
I hope not Taylor. That's all I. Yeah.
Billy or Beyonce or Charlie
Yeah.
even, but Beyonce deserves one for sure
Yeah.
because I know people love Cowboy Carter, and I don't think she's ever won a Grammy for album of the year.
Oh
So I
really?
think that I think that she deserves one at least once. And Max is gonna fact check me here.
Oh,
But
live fact check. Hey! We were promised no live checking.
but yeah, it's. I mean, I'm excited to see. Yeah, never taken home an album trophy. But,
Yeah.
unfortunate. But yeah. I hope Kendrick wins all of the Not Like Us awards. I hope.
Same.
I hope Chapel wins it.
Billy. Oh, sorry. You hope Chapel.
I hope Chapel wins it. Would love to see Charlie win. I don't think Apple should have been the
Yeah.
song of the year
Agreed.
from that album, but it was the big one. So
Yeah. Billy also. I mean, maybe you saw this, but Billy. A lot of her nominations were for "Birds of a Feather," which I also think is just a fine song.
yeah,
But like, I would be happy if it won still.
yeah.
But yeah.
I don't dislike the song. I just think it's like a more generic one off the record.
It's one of those songs that's just like perfectly good. Like it's all right.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad. Yeah.
But we'll see come March if the world's not exploded by then. But yeah, otherwise music news. I don't know if I have anything else
I have
to be.
one more news and a question. But news. Half Alive released a new single called "Songs," and I actually liked it quite a bit. It's very stripped back and low key, but in like a way that feels pretty mature, which I haven't really felt in their writing a lot recently. Like it was just like a really nice acoustic cut with good vocal performances, and it had a feature on it too. Like it's definitely worth checking out. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll have to check that.
Yeah. And then my question, it was just a thought I had earlier today, but like, what happened to Little Nas X? Like, wasn't he releasing an album or something?
He's been tweeting
Has he?
recently. Like
Okay.
he's been saying that he's gonna start releasing music soon, but
There was like the whole like thing with Jay Christ earlier this year, and then just like nothing came of that.
I don't know. Maybe he like had an album set up to go, but then he like lost. He didn't want to do it that way, so he's doing a different one or something like that. But
No idea.
yeah, it's kind of weird that he disappeared for a while.
Yeah, I was like looking at my ratings from this year, and I was like, wasn't he releasing stuff? What happened?
That was like right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
was. It was pretty early on.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't know if they'll release anything this year, but
yeah. But
it'll be.
that's all I have for music news. Well, I suppose we should talk about it. In world news, something pretty big happened.
Chocolate sandwiches.
You. I love you, Colin, but you broke my bit. I was gonna do this whole thing like say there's unfortunate world news. We only have a couple months left of joy.
Let's rewind here. What's the unfortunate world news, Mike?
Oh, unfortunate world news. Something that's gonna have. We only have a couple months left of joy before something happens, and that's Chuckle Sandwich. Oh my God, Chuckle Sandwich is ending. I
No.
know it's so terrible. Um,
I really thought you were gonna move on to the the
no,
election.
no, no, it's okay. You didn't know. I like doing bits like that and not telling you, so it's my it had to happen at some point. But yeah, Chuckle Sandwich is ending. Did you watch that video or
I
episode
didn't
at
watch
all?
the whole thing, but I clicked on it and watched the first few minutes and was like, oh,
Yeah.
why?
It's a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's like a not mutual. What it's just like a good ending. I'm trying to think of the
Okay.
word. Yeah, like they're not like splitting because the podcast is boring or they lost passion. They wanted to end it while it was in a good spot because I think they could kind of feel that it was starting to get to the point where they were just doing it week by week and not like putting their all into it. And they decided at the beginning of this year that this would be the last year for the podcast, and they're doing Chuckle Week. Well, they already did Chuckle Week, like filmed it, but the next 2 months are going to be releasing those episodes, which according to them are the best that they've ever recorded. So they just wanted to end the whole podcast on a high note. And it seems like they're like still like really good friends. They were talking about how like they think in the last year the two of them have actually become like lifelong friends.
Huh.
So like it's a really nice and wholesome thing, but they just didn't want the podcast to fit her out, you know. They wanted to
Yeah.
have kind of like Unis Honest a bit. They wanted it to have, a good set in stone ending so that way they could end on a high note. And yeah, I mean, it definitely is sad though, because I mean, I know you watch some podcasts, but this is really the only podcast I've ever
Yeah.
consumed, like especially this regularly. So it's the only other podcasts I listened to were Gus and Eddie, back before Gus, and then Tiny Meat Gang back before Cody. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
only a matter of time before one of them hears. No, but I think I would actually be genuinely sad if like something terrible came out about Ted Schlatt.
Yeah.
But you know,
So, yeah. I just it's a it feels like I don't know. I know that Jacksepticeye and Ethan Nestor ended their podcast
oh
a little
really?
while ago. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the reason behind it. It might have been like the same kind of thing, but yeah, I saw it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Chuckle Sandwich is
yeah,
also a little bit of a I've always kind of had it in my mind because they started like I want to say like a week or two before we started our podcast,
yeah,
and
I
they
was gonna
didn't
say
they didn't stick to a weekly schedule, so we
right.
we're beating them in episodes, not meaning to brag or anything, but
Yeah,
uh
I always saw them as like a sister podcast.
right,
I
yeah,
mean,
and
you know,
same, yeah,
we started around the same time, but
hmm
you can't have two great podcasts going on at the same exact
that's
time.
yeah, that's the real reason I think they were intimidated by the Broken Boys,
Yeah,
and
that's
yeah, me using Schlatt's face this week is a power move so that they know that they made the right choice. And
um,
you using a picture of Ted is also.
it's actually Charlie.
Oh yeah, dude, that's such a better bit. I should have said that. Good job. Picture of Charlie. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's sad, but I'm glad that they're doing it in a way where
Yeah.
they're happy with it.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
yeah, I am a little hurt that they didn't invite us on for Chuckle Week though.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe we'll be on for Fuckle Week. We'll see.
maybe come.
Hmm
Uh, but yeah. Oh, I forgot. Also in music news, Schlatt released a
Oh yeah.
Christmas song.
It was really good. Like I
I haven't listened to it, but I know Jack Septiceye was saying he sounded exactly like Frank. So
yeah, no, he genuinely like his voice is like incredible for like Frank Sinatra impersonations. Like he like speaking as the music guy when it comes to those kinds of things, like you can tell there's a little bit of like, well, I mean, at least I can, that there's a little bit of like pitch correction in there, not like auto tune, but like it's there like a little bit, but like there's also a little bit of that in like every pop and rock song we've heard this year, pretty
Right.
much. And like but like it's the tone of his voice, like it's just like he's genuinely has an incredible voice for like doing a Frank Sinatra impersonation, and like he can hit the notes. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very cool. But I would love a whole Christmas album from him. It'd be
he's
great.
doing that.
Oh, is he? Awesome.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be like an album. It might just be more like an EP. But he said there's gonna be multiple songs. So
I love that.
yeah, but
Um, well,
yeah,
in other world news,
mm,
as I alluded to at the beginning, um, yeah. So Donald Trump is our 47th president of the United States of America. Um, he won the popular vote. Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
He won the he won the popular vote for the first time out of the 3 times that he's run.
yeah,
And he won the swing states, whether it was by cheating or I don't want to sound I don't want to sound like one of them
yeah.
when he lost in 2020, but boy, do I feel like there was some sort of collusion. Some
I
sort of some.
Yeah. I mean, we can kind of get into it, but I've been seeing online, and I think this is what I agree with most. I mean, he got like 3 or 4 million less votes than he did in 2020, and he lost in 2020. Um,
Yeah.
so like people literally just didn't go out to vote this year. And Democrats especially, I think Democratic Party fucked up a lot when it came to the transition of who they were nominating. I mean, obviously, all the things that they did with Biden at the beginning of this year were frankly embarrassing. And even
Oh
though
yeah.
I think Kamala did the best that she could, it simply like we were informed on her policies and knew what she stood for, but to a lot of America, it's just like, okay, this person's now being thrown in place of Joe Biden. Like that's just kind of all that they knew. And Trump refusing all these um debates, and they only had the one debate, like it kept a lot of mystery around her, and I think that was ultimately effective on the Democrats having 15 million less votes than last year, or not last year,
Yeah.
last election. So I really, yeah, that's my theory when it comes to. I don't think we definitely should not be looking at it as a cheating or fraud or anything. It's just disappointing with
It
70
is.
million people in this country will vote for.
It is.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking about like cheating, I mean more in the fact that like there were many cases of people burning ballot boxes. There
Mhm.
were there was Elon Musk paying people $1 million to vote for Trump. There were just a lot of shady bullshit on top of Trump going, we got all the votes. You don't need to vote. You don't need to vote. We got plenty of votes. You don't need to vote.
No.
And just like just other things that I've been reading on like that I've been seeing online and such, and like I take a lot of that with a grain of salt, but
Yeah.
it's just really disappointing because while I don't think Kamala was the best candidate
Yeah.
for the White House, and I do think that she was just kind of thrown in
Yeah.
um, right after Biden dropped out, which he should have done well before July.
Oh,
Um,
that should have been the plan as of last year. Yeah.
he shouldn't have been the elect the first time around, but I don't know
Well,
who would
that
have.
too. Yeah, but
I don't know who would have gotten in there other than him, to be completely honest.
yeah.
Uh, and it, it just on just the week leading up, I was so confident. I was so ready for to have the first woman president. I was so excited for that to be the future of America. and all the political people that I follow online were all like, polls are looking great. It's gonna be a really good. It's gonna be close, but it's gonna be a good win. We're gonna be okay. And then the night of, everything went to shit, and I, I have I've never been unable to sleep because of my anxiety. On
Yeah.
Tuesday was the first time where my anxiety has been so bad that I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned all fucking night. I turned off my phone at one point just to like keep myself from looking at anything, to keep myself from looking at the map, to just disconnect.
Yeah.
Because after he won Georgia, that's when that's when you and John first was like, that's a wrap. I
Yeah.
was like, I have to believe. I have to keep believing. I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I knew that it was that, but I had to like disconnect a little bit. But even with that, I just couldn't. My heart was racing the entire night. I was tossing and turning. I was waking up constantly. I was sweating. I just could not fucking believe that this was happening. And in 2016, when he was first elected, I knew it was a bad thing, but from the perspective of a 15-year-old
Right.
that, it had no idea about the world of politics.
The
I
division
just knew
was
that.
also just like starting back then too. Like
Right.
not the video game, but like the political division in our country was. I mean, it could have existed there before us because I mean, I'm sure you relate in some sense, but 2016 is really when our grade and age was introduced into the world of politics. So
Right.
we weren't really like conscious at all about what was going on in 2012. But yeah, I mean, I just want to throw that in there. Yeah, the division between the actual parties, I feel, has grown even further apart since 2016,
Mm-hmm.
like by a lot.
Yeah. No, for sure. And, even when you look back at clips of like 2008 election, the 2012 election with John McCain in 2008 and Mitt Romney in 2012, you look at those and you see they are, yes, they're disagreeable with my line of politics, but they were actual, stand up people
Yeah,
that were going
respectable,
against Obama. John
respectable.
McCain
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
respectable. John McCain especially, when you see clips of him talking about conceding and stuff like this, and people booing and going, no, no, this is good, this is okay, I'm okay with this. And then you look at 2016 when Hillary conceded and Trump called her a fucking loser or whatever and said throw her in jail.
yeah,
And then 2020 when he didn't concede and started an insurrection. And it's just, I could not make myself believe that many fucking people are as ignorant as they are.
yeah,
You see plenty of Trump supporters online. You see plenty of Trump supporters in person, but you don't look at that and go, "There's 70 plus million people that
yeah.
support that man."
You also have to remember that we are in a very blue area.
Yeah, true. True, but even in this blue area, I see plenty of
Yeah,
Trump hats,
yeah,
and you see that you see it online, and you go, that's a lot of people. But when you see the map go red in so many states,
yeah,
other than the ones that are going to be red no matter what, because there's more cows and grass living in those states than people, and the two people that live in those states are Trump supporters.
yeah,
You see the map go red. You see the amount of people who voted for him, and you go, "Holy shit! People are awful."
yeah,
I have this week since Tuesday or Wednesday. I have not. I haven't felt the sense of overall dread in so long.
Yeah.
I think the last time where I've just out of the blue started feeling just white in the face, weak, sad. I think the last time that I felt like this was my last breakup,
Yeah.
and this is even to like a this is worse to in the extent of the country.
Right.
Um, but like I the entire night of Tuesday, I was worrying about my siblings. I have a trans sibling. I have a queer sibling. I'm so worried for all the women in this country. I'm so worried for all the immigrants who might not have been able to come in here legally. I'm so worried for everybody. And that's mostly the root of my anxiety, um,
Yeah.
which kept me up so bad on Tuesday. Um, but it's just so disheartening and
Yeah.
so baffling to see that many people support such a fucking monster who is unapologetically a monster.
Right.
And you look at how badly he's embarrassed himself this entire election cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
go, how the fuck did 70 plus million people think, yeah, you know what, let's do this again?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like,
mean, someone reposted something on Instagram saying that Americans would literally vote for a rapist over a woman, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, Graydon's hive mind bit that I've sent to in the chat when Kamala
yeah,
was announced as the electee or what? I, is electee the right word there? I don't know, whatever. The nominee, that's it.
yeah,
The nominee, Graydon from Hive Mind, he has that bit where he's like, "We will have a gay Chinese guy before we have a woman as president," and I stand by that. And it's like, well, unfortunately, aged very well. Yeah,
yeah. Maybe next time.
maybe next time.
Um, uh, just like I don't like I said, I felt so confident and I felt like I was on such solid ground. I saw a candidate that I didn't completely agree with. There's a lot of things that she has said that I'm not big on. I don't love her position on Israel and Palestine. I don't love that. I really don't.
Yeah,
But she said a lot of things that I liked. She's a lot younger. She is is looking out for the American people rather than just rich people and rather
yeah,
than herself. And she had a vice president elect that was such a cool dude, and I loved Tim Walz, and I think that he, more than anyone, deserves to be in the White House in this entire between any of the Republicans or any of the Democrats that are running. I think that Tim Walz deserved to be in the fucking White House more than any of them.
yeah.
He's such a stand up dude, Midwestern guy, loves people,
But
loves
Colin,
everyone.
you're forgetting that Trump worked at McDonald's for 2 hours, if that.
He worked at a staged
I
McDonald's. That's true.
sorry, yes, yeah.
um, but just I don't know, man. It was so just disheartening and
Yeah.
baffling to me, and I can't. I just I'm just glad we live in Illinois. I'm
Mhm.
glad that we live in a blue state where JB Pritzker, love that man. You know, word up. I love JB Pritzker. He's gonna
Yeah.
protect us.
Shout
He
out
said,
JB.
shout out JB, one of the only good billionaire. Uh, we we love that guy. He said he's going to protect the people of Illinois. He's going to make it a safe haven for people who need abortions, for trans people, for everybody, and who needs it. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that, as well as California. Tim Walz is going to do his best in Minnesota. I
Mhm.
know New York passed a bill to protect trans people
That's good.
and gay people as well in this election.
I think wasn't it like New Hampshire or Vermont that they literally had a transgender woman become senator?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were some good things that came of this
Yeah.
election. It wasn't all bad, but just the overall result for the country as a whole is the bad thing.
Yeah.
And I saw online that California has the ability to put people in the House to make it impossible for Trump to pass the things that he wants to pass next year because they won't have a majority.
Yeah.
Um, I saw that Massachusetts is going to be protecting illegal immigrants from being deported. Um, and you see these good things around the country, and you remember that there are good people.
Yeah.
Um, but just to see the fallout of everything that's happened, to see online that people like Nick Fuentes, who his I don't even know who he is. He's just some talking head MAGA dude
Yeah.
who's very conservative. He went on a rant about how women are never going to be the top of the food chain, that it's not a glass ceiling, it's a brick ceiling, and they can never break through it. How it's never their choice, it's your body, my choice, always, is what he said.
Awesome.
And that's been rhetoric that I've seen way too much since Tuesday, across Twitter, across the internet, of just men sounding off about how they think that just because Trump and his team want to do a national abortion ban and want to take that right away from women completely, that makes rape okay. That
Yeah.
that just because a woman can't get an abortion and abort the baby that you impregnated her with forcefully doesn't mean that rape itself isn't a crime.
Yeah.
What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah.
And it's just disgusting. Like you see the good things, you see that there are good people in this country, and then you look around the corner and you see people like that, and
Right.
it's like, how are we in the year 2024 and people are acting like that? People are acting like it's the fucking dark ages,
Yeah. I
and
yeah.
yeah, it's
I don't know. I think the thing that I guess I want to stress most, just as my perspective on everything, um, is just that like obviously I'm on the blue side and I'm very disappointed about what happened, but I think the division in this country in general is a huge there's a lot of things that come with that, and one of them is just the extreme sides being representative of everyone. You know what I mean? Like, um, like with Twitter, one of the reasons I got rid of Twitter is because of just how much of that right wing grifting shit is on there. That's literally just posted as rage bait. Like to
yeah,
me, that's what a lot of those posts sound like because there's Republican people I know in my life, and like they would never agree with those stances. You know what I mean? It's those things that get engagement. It gets likes by trolls and people who are owning the libs. That kind of shit. And it's like you got to remember those are not representative of everyone as well.
right.
Um,
No,
and I guess that's the biggest thing I just want to stress, like from my viewpoint, is that, and you may disagree with me potentially, but like I do choose to see the good in a lot of people and try to see why people think the way they do, and that kind of stuff interests me. And like I do think there are good ideals that can happen with you know uh being a conservative, being a Republican, right? There's thing like being that and wanting to vote for, especially things like economically or whatever. Like I can understand why someone would do that and just not really understand a lot of the social parts, which is the parts that we're passionate about. And that's where the Republican Party is very, very wrong, in my opinion. Um,
yeah,
it's just like it's so easy when everything is so divided to just see the other side as a characterization, as just be like, oh, Republican equal racist equal Nazi equal misogynist equal homophobe, when that just isn't necessarily true. The bad thing about it is that if someone is a racist, misogynist, homophobe, they will be on the right, and that's the part that
Right.
is awful. And just like, I don't know, but like, it's not like, I guess what I'm stressing most is I don't choose to see that 70 million people are like that. However, all the things you were saying before about like, you know, how could they vote someone like this in? Like that's the thing that's just baffles me the most, is that like when people look back in the history books, and like literally like in school having history books and looking at the pictures of all the presidents in line, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
see Donald Trump, Joe Biden, then Donald Trump again, and you're gonna have to explain to those kids, yeah, he got impeached 2 times that first run, and then we elected him again, as the oldest sitting president,
Twice.
twice in a row. Yeah, well, I mean, 3 times in a row if you count Biden, but like,
Yeah.
yes, he broke his own record that he set 8 years ago of being the oldest inaugurated president. Um,
Yeah.
but like, just like, that's so embarrassing as a country that like we impeached a man twice, first president to get impeached twice, and also the first president to be like elected like that. I'm pretty sure, right? Like where like he's not there for a term and then he's
I
there for the next term. Has that happened
think
before?
one other. I think it might have been Grover Cleveland.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to.
I'm
There was
not.
one other did 2 non-consecutive terms.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't know that, but like even still, like it just that whole in concept, like just zooming out, it's just like how are we putting a literal convicted rapist and like
Yeah.
so many felony charges, and just someone who very clearly does not have the interest of our nation as the helm and voice of freedom and like the front of our country. Like it's absolutely insane to me. And like I know there's a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump, but do want to vote for Republican ideals of economy and all that kind of stuff. And like
Yeah.
that's kind of like a, I don't know. I feel very, that's its own discussion, to be honest. But like I don't know. It just
Yeah.
that, I don't know. Like one
Yeah.
thing I've been waiting to possibly bring up, because I don't want to mention that on pod, but
That's
but just like in general, it's just like if you're a father or if you have sisters or whatever, um if a woman in your life had to work in their job next to someone who was a convicted rapist, how would that make you feel? And it's
right.
like there's that, and it's like, okay, so why would you want a convicted rapist to be running the country? Do you think that is the someone who can rape another person when they're like what 40, 50 years old? I don't know how old he was in the 90s, because I think that's when that charge came or something, I don't know.
Um,
But like someone who thinks that way, that they can rape another person, is like quite literally the definition of someone who has no one else's interest in mind except their own. Like
yeah.
it's like it's unfathomable that people support this man and have gotten him this far. And I don't know, it's frustrating and it's very disgusting and disappointing, but unfortunately not surprising to me that this is what we're living right now. And
Mhm.
I think the scariest things for me, because once again, I mean, I think I am saying once again, but I haven't said this yet, but I think there is a lot of fear mongering going on right now too, on the left especially, of just like these potential, world ending stuff of America becoming a dictatorship in the next 4 years, and you won't even be able to vote in 2028. Like, I think spreading rhetoric like that is pretty silly and pretty over the top and just fear mongering, like I said, because that's realistically that's not going to happen because Republicans don't want that either. Um,
Right.
and Republicans won't let that happen, and they're the ones with the guns. So, but but just in, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the thing that does scare me is how red our like justice system is going to be for
Yeah.
a long time now, because people are I yeah, I think there's like two justices that are like set to, leave being a Supreme Court justice this term that are both Republican, and they're going to be replaced with more Republicans. So it's going to be a majority red, Supreme Court for possibly 60 years is what I was seeing. I don't know if that's how true that is, but
Yeah.
that along with Trump, and I mean, I guess you've heard that California can sway it a bit, but again, I haven't looked into it, but I've heard that the House could sway red as well. So like that there be all of those checks and balances are being run by Republicans pretty much, or majority of Republicans, which that's the scary thing to me, especially with all the 2025 project shit going on, all of that. But you know again, I don't know. I hold out hope because there are Republicans that have denounced, like Republican senators and stuff, who have denounced Project 2025 and saying like this shit is ridiculous, and it is. There are sane ones in there, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a whole mess, and I fear for some of the implications that of especially human rights stuff that's going to happen in the next 4 years. That's the part that I'm the most scared about. But
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
to go to go back and talk about what you were saying was
Yeah,
like
sorry.
it's not no, no, it's okay. It's not all Republicans. I understand. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I know that not every Republican is MAGA. I know that there are Republicans who do not agree with that subsect. But even as a Republican, you look at, if it's for the economy, if it's for whatever, you look at Trump, his economy wasn't good. It was only good because it was Obama's economy.
Yeah. Well, they
You know,
they actually don't know that. That's something they just don't believe.
well, like smart Republicans,
Yeah.
I'm not talking MAGA
Oh, okay.
Republicans.
Okay. Yeah.
You look at the Republicans who actually know things, who actually look at things, who do the research, and you go, this man wants to do tariffs on imports. That's going to make everything more expensive. That's not going to make anything more affordable.
Yeah.
You are fucking yourself over. You're fucking everybody over. Nobody's going to be able to afford anything.
Yeah.
You and then I don't know, man. Just like the MAGA movement is so absolutely disgusting, and it's a lot of people, and it's so unfortunate that it's a lot of people. It's just also really unfortunate that it's a lot of younger people too.
Yeah,
You
that's
see,
the biggest shock. Like basically since election day, I've been seeing so much young support of Republican all of a sudden. Like I feel like that popped into my feeds out of nowhere. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I thought we were
it,
supposed to be the progressive ones. What happened?
you would think, you
Yeah.
would fucking think, but it's
Yeah.
just I don't know, man. Like I said, I haven't felt this constant dread in so long, and it just sucks. I hate feeling this way,
Yeah.
and I hate what the next 40 years means for so many people. I know that a lot of that there were like people like looked into like suicides after the election was called, and whether it be due to the election or whether it just it just so happens to coincide. There were like 2,000 or something between like the when it was called in the morning after, the day after, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's I I don't want the fact that Donald Trump is in the White House again to mean that people feel there's no way to go through with life anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want um, people to give up just because the person that is at the top of the country, at the top of the food chain, is so against your existence.
Yeah.
The whole um, the whole thing with being in those marginalized groups is that you fight and you fight and you fight for what you believe and what you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to, in the face of adversity, to just keep existing and keep being you unapologetically, because that's how you get things done. That's how you keep existing. That's how you keep your movement and your just your existence alive. And I I hate what this next 4 years is going to do to these marginalized groups, to these people that don't deserve it, that just want to be people and just want to be alive and who they are. And I, like I said, I have a trans sibling. You have a trans friend that you've been friends with for a long, long time.
Yeah, since childhood. Yeah.
I have a queer non-binary sibling. I have a partner that falls under the trans umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't want this is I don't know. It's just really, really upsetting, and I don't.
It is.
I want you to know. I want those people to know that there are people, and there are going to be people that support you no matter what, and will always be there for you. We will be there for you no matter what.
Yeah.
This podcast, safe space for you. Proud
yeah. Broken Boy.
we love you.
Yeah.
And we're here for you. And if you need to talk to somebody, if you need anything, I've asked Mike to put some hotline, the website with all the hotlines in the description this week.
Yeah.
So, if you're feeling helpless, if you're feeling just the need to talk to somebody, please get in touch with somebody. Talk to anybody, even if it's somebody you've never met in one of those hotlines. It's important that you stay alive and you stay fighting, because that's how we get things done. And that's how we stay relevant and on top of things, because if we just give up, that's how they win, and we don't want that. We really don't. We really don't.
We may be two straight white guys with the podcast, but we're not like the others. No, we're
not like the other guys.
not like the other guys. Yeah, no, I mean, ditto to everything you just said there too. I mean, unfortunately, that's not something I had considered either, is the suicide rates, but that's also an issue in I know, with the gay community, it's there, but especially in the trans community, I know that like the suicide rates are already higher just because of how much they have to go through with that whole thing, not only their own mental processes, but the ones of those around them who don't accept them for who they are. So once again, I think in these times, it's very easy, and depending on where you are, very reasonable to be scared about a lot of this stuff. But like Colin said, there's resources for you. You're, no matter how alone you may feel, you're not alone. And it's not great. I won't lie to you. I won't sugarcoat it, but it's like Colin said, living and pushing on through is the best that we can do right now, and just care for one another. There are still, I don't remember how much she ended. Was it like 68 million? There's still a lot of liberal and progressive voices in the country who understand you and want to fight for your rights. And it's just, that's just the country we're in right now, and we need to fight for a better future.
We do.
one other thing I wanted to say, and that isn't really the greatest transition, to be honest with you, but one of the other things that I have been seeing that I am fearful of, is also, with Trump going into office, it basically, once again, this could be echo chambers, changing how I perceive things, but according to a lot of people, um, Ukraine might just be fucked, like,
Yeah.
in general, because as soon as he gets into office, they're gonna pull them out because he's buddy buddy with Putin, and that's a scary thought, letting Russia win something like that. And then also, apparently, there's a lot of reports that China's very happy about this with Taiwan as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of international tensions that get implicated into American politics as well. So not only are we fucking over our country, it's fucking over a lot of overseas conflicts as well, and rights of people overseas as well, which is just
Yeah.
god awful, to be honest. But
Don't forget,
yeah,
don't forget, he's also buddy buddy with Netanyahu. So,
is
um,
that for Israel? I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on that.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the Israel's prime minister.
Yeah, I mean that's something I knew, is that no matter who we voted in, they're going to be buddy buddy with Israel. But
For sure, yeah,
yeah,
no, but Trump will just while Kamala and Biden have been insisting on a ceasefire as of recently, Trump's not going to give a fuck. So
true.
it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's scary. It's going to be a scary world the next 4 years.
yeah,
Um, we did it. We did it once. We can do it again.
right.
But it's a little scarier. Just as an adult with more perception of the world around us,
Yeah,
it's even scarier now than it was in 2016. It was more of a funny thing in 2016 to see that
yeah,
man become the
yeah,
president. To be honest, but growing up through that presidency and seeing how fucked up things were getting and how shitty of a person that man was, through his first presidency, uh, you know, it. I don't know, it's just I hate this. I hate
yeah. Me
that
too.
this is what America is right now. I hate that we're so divided. I hate that we hate each other. Um, but I can't sit here and also, if you're a Republican and you're not a Trump supporter, more power to you. I'm really glad that you're not, and I don't hate you for your uh, Republican Party, but if you have the morals of a Trump supporter, or lack thereof, um, get out. like
Yeah.
if you're, I highly doubt that any of you
If
would be
someone's
listening to the
watching this
podcast.
podcast and they've gotten this far and they believe those things, that, I mean, honestly, you really got to work on your media literacy. But yeah,
But I will not associate with anybody that voted for Trump. I will not associate with anybody that has the morals of that man or anybody in the MAGA universe. Um,
yeah,
Even if they're family, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not going to associate with somebody that voted that man into office again. Um, and I just can't. Like, I was at Walmart yesterday, and I saw an old man in a MAGA hat, and I've felt malice for people in those hats, but over the past 4 years, it's like, ha ha, he lost, motherfucker, fuck you. But to see somebody after the election wearing a MAGA hat, I felt genuine rage. I was
yeah,
so angry at this old man. That's who knows, may not be alive in the next 4 years. He looked pretty old, but it's just like, God, I've never looked at a person out in public and just like felt rage.
yeah,
And that's I can't, if like I said, I can't associate with anybody that did that to the country and did that to women or any marginalized groups. So peace out to any family or family or acquaintances that I might have had, but I don't care. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, there's things even we're gonna agree and disagree about, but like when it comes to those things, I don't know. I think choosing to view things that way furthers the division more. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
it's the exact things that Trump and well, it's mostly Trump to be honest. But like Trump and all the right wing stuff, like it, they're further pushing into their rightness, and then doing that stuff further pushes into the leftness, in my opinion. Like
yeah,
I think completely getting rid of those things and feeling, you know, I don't know. It's just I personally just don't think that is helping any causes. You know what I mean? Like
sure, yeah,
it's like I understand the feelings for sure. I completely get it. It's just I don't know. I choose to just like remember that these are human beings. Maybe not the old man who might be 4 years from death because things happen to your mind at that point. But you know, like they are human beings who do genuinely think about things, but they genuinely think about things differently than we do, and they aren't in tune with the social causes in the ways that we are. And
mm,
I don't know. That's just the way that I choose to see a lot of it. But it's an issue that I 100% agree that, you know, the way that the left views these social issues that when it comes to, you know, gay rights and trans rights and marginalized groups getting the things that they need, like I believe the left is correct in those things, but I think furthering the hate between the groups will make like damn sure that the right will never see that. You know what I mean? They'll never see why these things exist because in their mind it doesn't exist. Like they don't think these people are marginalized. Like they just don't get it. It hasn't been explained to them properly, and if it has, you know, they're just a bigot at that point. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm too positive and naive of a person, but that's just how I choose to see things and view things. But
yeah, and like I wish I could be. I'm already like a natural pessimist. I'm
yeah,
a very negative person. Um, and I would love to see the good in people. I see the good in plenty of people, but it's hard to see the good in people who will vote for somebody that hates women, that hates
I agree.
any not white,
Yeah,
um, and straight. It's hard to see the light in people that live such a different life from me and
yeah,
have such different ideals. Um, I can't, and like I said, if you're Republican, if you're not and you're not a mega supporter, hey, I don't hate you, but I do hate. I'm sorry, but I hate anybody that voted for Trump and is just because he's Trump and not just because he's a Republican
yeah,
and not because you've never voted blue in your life or whatever the fuck.
yeah.
But if you voted for Trump because you love Trump and you love everything about Trump, and
Oh, yeah,
you're riding his dick as hard as you fucking can, doing tricks on it, doing tricks on it. Like
yeah,
I can't respect you. I can't look at you and think that's my fellow human being.
yeah.
It just I don't know, man. It's hard for me, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you are able to do that. I'm glad that you choose to do that. But I don't know, man. I'm not as good of a person in that regard. I don't think.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. That I guess that's just my biggest fear. I mean, it's just how divided everything is. And I mean, even like you said in 2016, there was kind of an, maybe it's because we were in high school, but there was a little bit of an underlying like, oh shit, that's kind of funny that Trump got
yeah,
elected. Like just a little bit. Um and like I was saying, the division has just gotten such it's just, you know, the extremes are getting worse on either side.
yeah,
And I obviously I agree with a lot of the stuff on the left, even the quote unquote extreme left, which I don't really think is nearly as much of a problem as the extreme right. But you know, I think I don't know. I just fear of things getting even more divided because of this.
Yeah.
And that thought scares me more than, you know, anything, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
The division is really bad,
it
and not
is.
just
Yeah.
not just the game, but like the division in the country as well.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, honestly, it's kind of happening around the world from what I've seen. There's a lot of like even in like Europe and like Canada, apparently
oh
there's a lot of uprising in conservative far extremism.
yeah, yeah.
And
I saw on one of like the Jubilee fucking debate things that somebody said that you know Republicans it's been hard for them to get their rhetoric out and to get their talking points out because the world has over the past 20 years or so has become a lot more like socially liberal,
yeah,
and it's hard for them to get their words out, and that's caused a lot of the division that we see.
yeah,
um and like and it makes sense, and I see that, but to look at a woman, to look at your brother, you're not your brother, to look at your sister, to look at your daughter, to look at your wife and go, you deserve less rights than me.
yeah,
Like, how how can you look yourself how can you look in a mirror and go, I'm a good person?
yeah. I agree with that 100%.
I I'll never understand that. Like, say your wife gets pregnant, you're so happy, you're gonna have a new baby running around. She has a miscarriage, can't get the support she needs, can't get the abortion that she needs. She gets sepsis, she dies.
Yeah.
Now you don't have a wife. Now you don't have the baby that you were looking forward to have. That's because you voted for a man who instated a national abortion ban.
Yeah.
How can you look at yourself and say that you are in the moral right?
Yeah. It yeah. It is delusional. Like genuinely. Like I think the social politics of the right are very much wrapped and seeped with propaganda and fear mongering and delusion. Like, I mean, I was talking about some fear mongering that's happening on the left, but it's terrible on the right, like in general. Like, I mean, we talked about it before about all the rhetoric of trans people are gonna rape your kids or something, and you know the way that they choose to view these people who are just trying to express themselves and like
Yeah,
be themselves as these monsters. Like it's just, I don't know.
yeah,
I think I grew up religious, and there's a lot of things that I still respect about religion, but I do hate how much that it
yeah,
further supports those ideals.
yeah.
It's yeah.
There's a reason that the founding fathers wanted a separation between church and state.
Oh yeah, and that's also disappearing right now. 100%. So
There's no fucking reason that your religion, which isn't a religion that everybody is a part of, should be dictating what happens with literally anybody.
yeah,
There's no reason that just because you believe that life starts at conception,
yeah,
no, it doesn't.
yeah,
Scientifically, no, it fucking doesn't.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you don't choose to look at science and go, dinosaurs weren't real. The Earth is 2,000 years old. And you think you sound smart?
Yeah, yep. Yeah,
Are you fucking.
there's a lot. Once again, this is a whole topic in and of itself that I have a
It is.
lot of thoughts on. But it's I I do dislike how much the church has become state. I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely always been there to some regard, whether or not we want to admit it as Americans, not you and
Yeah.
I. But the it's I don't know. I don't know. I quite frankly, respectfully, I kind of want to stop talking about this stuff.
Yeah, no.
My brain's getting very like I've never been one who is into politics and likes talking about politics. If that wasn't clear from the stance I've given throughout this episode.
Yeah,
But you know, I am very passionate about, you know, human rights and you know, social rights and all those things I was talking about before with LGBTQ plus minority groups in general. Like I very much have a lot of passion and a lot of love for these people that deserve to have love back. And
yeah,
that's the things that I care about the most. And obviously, the well being of everyone is something that I care about as well. And I don't know, all that's the stuff that I get passionate about. And then seeing that being the most at risk in this election has made me more in tune with politics than I want to be, and it's kind of the same reason I deleted Twitter. The shit just depresses me, you know. It like it just doesn't make me feel good. Like I don't. Like you were saying before, like it gives me anxiety as well. It makes me just feel glum and get very depressed about, you know, very doomer based about the future and everything. It's like I don't want that. I think it's unhealthy to always be like that too. But
yeah.
I
It
don't.
is.
I just sorry.
No, no, no. It's okay. I want to stop talking about it too. I
It's important, but yeah.
it is, and I hate. I've become very passionate about at least social politics in the past 7 years, 8 years,
Same here. Yeah.
and I'm very for the loving of people that deserve it, like you, that need it, that deserve it, that need the help. I want to be there for those people, and I want them to have the rights that they deserve. And I hate that we keep moving. We keep moving one step forward, three steps back.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. Shout out Olivia. Shout out Orad.
But it just, as a nation and as a world, we keep like we legalize gay marriage, and then we take rights away from women.
Yeah.
We revoke Roe v. Wade. We do all this shit, and it's like, how can you? I don't know. I don't want to keep going in a depressing direction, but
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been filled with this dread in a long time, and I'm glad that I have this space to like talk about it and like
Same
talk
here.
into the
Yeah.
and talking to you, even if it makes us both depressed and then worse
Yeah.
off.
Even if it
I
ruins
need
both our nights. No, I'm kidding.
right. And it's just, I'm glad that I have you to talk to. I'm glad that I
Yeah.
have people to talk to, because I know a lot of people don't have people to talk to, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have this space that we can just talk and rant and
Into the ether. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just yeah, but I won't stop supporting the people that need support. I know there's a lot of people out there that won't either. Like we said, if you need support, if you need to talk to somebody, call the hotlines that we have in the description. Talk to family that you can trust and that you love, to friends that you can trust and you can love. It'll be okay. We'll get through this. And I know this won't be the last we'll talk about politics.
Hopefully not for a whole episode like this in the near future, but you know, if it needs to be done, it needs to
no,
be
no, no,
done.
no, no. I was I was rewatching some episodes of the podcast this week. I rewatched our Godly Goobers episode because I love that fucking episode so
Yeah.
much. Um, and then I put on the episode about your album about coping mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Shout
completely
out.
forgot. Yes, shout out. I completely forgot that at the beginning of that episode, we talk about the revocation of Roe v. Wade,
That's
and I was like,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Continue.
it was just like, oh my god! And now we're here, and now we're here.
Yeah. That's one thing I do. I actually do remember every now and then. It's like I want, because that happened like I think the day I released the album, I'm pretty sure. So like I wanted to be promoting my music and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, that makes me sound so tone deaf. And I was like,
Yeah,
bro, what do I do? But like like yeah, I actually do think about that every now and then, just like, oh man, that was like there's no way I could have known I had that date
right.
set
Yeah,
in advance, and it just happened to coincide. I'm like, oh, I should be supporting this. And I think I did tweet out,
yeah,
or not tweet out, but Instagram links and stuff like, hey, this is more important than me right now. But yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. Uh, but yeah, you know, it'll come the midterm elections. You fuckers who didn't vote, who voted third party or whatever, please go out and get out there and vote for what needs to be voted for in 2026.
Yeah.
For the love of God, um, please. But we'll get there when we get there. And for now, I think this episode's gone long
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. I mean,
And
sorry, what were we gonna say?
no, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say the biggest hope I have for this outcome is that people see what I was mentioning when we first started talking about this, is the
Yeah,
lack of votes that happened on the Democratic side. I mean, even on the Republican side, like I said, there was like 3 million or 4 million less votes.
yeah,
But like I hope, especially for people in states where their vote matters more than mine does in Illinois, because
yeah,
I love voting blue, but at the same time, I kind of hate that it almost feels like my voice means nothing, to prevent things like this. But like I'm hoping, what I'm saying is that I'm hoping this is a wake up call to a lot of people of how much that vote really did matter. You know, you thought you were just like, I could skip this one. It's whatever. I'm feeling undecided, and then just seeing the results of what happens because of that. And even like I was saying too, I think a lot of the blame has to go to the Democratic Party here. I hope that
yeah,
they realize their fuck ups and how poorly they handled this election season.
yeah.
And I hope that they get their shit together with that as well, and have someone genuinely great to elect, because we haven't really had that in I I don't know. I mean, I want to say Obama was genuinely great, but at the same time,
He
a lot
did.
of a
He
lot
did
of war
plenty
crimes.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of war crimes. But
I don't know how much we knew
in
about that in
in
the
ter-
first election.
yeah, in terms of steering the country in the right direction, he did a great job
I agree.
over the course of two terms. I'm glad he was our president growing up, and I'm glad we got to see a lot of the things that he did, even if we weren't like consciously aware. We, just the world around us getting from the 2008 like housing crisis and just beyond. He was great,
Yeah.
and we haven't had anybody like that since then. And it's just, it's disappointing and sad
Yeah, we
because we
need
go from
yeah. Sorry, we go from
yeah we go from this guy who, you know the first black president of the United States doing all this great stuff, and then we get an orange fucker.
yeah.
Um, and then we get an geriatric man, and then we get an orange geriatric man. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
But I'm hoping that they have a good set of nominees for 2028, because we need someone. We just need someone.
yeah, yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
Bring the gay Asian man.
Yeah, get that gay Chinese guy in here. We need...
Because we need him. We need him real bad.
Yeah.
Because you know, despite despite Kamala being a pretty good candidate, she was a black woman, and that really worked against her as well. So
Depressingly, you are very correct. Yes.
if she were a white man, probably would have done a lot better, to be
I
honest.
remember, yeah, I remember my mom made the comment, just like, I wonder how much differently this would have gone if Tim Walz was the actual candidate. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, it might have gone a lot better. But
But anyway,
Yeah.
please be there for the people that need it. Um, we love you.
Yes.
We're here for you.
Links in the description for support stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
like I said a few minutes ago, it's gone on quite long enough, I think. So
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
why don't we? It's okay. My bad too. I ranted for a long time without pause.
Yeah.
So, anyway, well, we have a little segment that we do.
We sure do.
Towards the end of every episode, where we do a song of the week, where we choose a song, we talk about it, we listen to it, we talk about it, and yeah. So I think I'm first.
Yes, you are first this week.
Yeah. It's not going to be much of an uplifting song to listen to be honest, but just the overall feeling of this song is how I was feeling this week. And I listened to it today. I was like, yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to go with Exit Music for a Film by Radiohead.
All right.
All right. That was Exit Music for a Film by Radiohead. What do you think, Mike?
That's a great song. I'm pretty sure I mentioned during the OK Computer, the Radiohead artist analysis, but that's one of my favorite Radiohead songs. It's absolutely stellar. I mean, it gave Muse an entire career, basically, this one song. Just
We are fucking fucked with that Exit Music for a Film.
that's so true. Maybe that's what I should choose for this week. But yeah, no, I mean it's a fantastic song. The atmosphere is insane throughout the whole thing. However they mic'd Tom during this thing is incredible. I love how you can just hear, like, I don't know, he just sounds so close to the mic, and he's so close and intimate, and then that huge climax that just keeps building and keeps climaxing. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. I love it.
I love that song. I think that it encapsulates just my mood. Last few days, just like when it blows up, it feels like someone falling to their knees, and I felt like falling to my knees a lot of this week. So I love the feeling of that song. I think it's gorgeous. It definitely feels like an exit music for a film.
That's what it was originally.
And yeah, I love that song. But yeah, I just felt like it encapsulated my mood for the week. So
yeah, I think a lot of Radiohead stuff. I've been listening to them a bit this week too. It very much encapsulates this. "Hail to the Thief" is a good one if you want to get a little angry. That's when they were. That's when they were angry at the Bush administration. So it it applies. And I also did a little on Wednesday morning. I did a little cover of the Daily Mail. And that's also a great song. And I liked how my vocals sounded that morning, so I was like, you know what, TikTok time.
Yeah. Radiohead Artist Analysis. Daily Mail was.
That's true. I love that song. It's a great song. For me, I think I do want to end on a positive note, I guess, and go for that small group that I was talking about earlier. And I think I'm going to go with so the band is called Improvement Movement, and I think I'm going to go with the closer on the album, which is called An Enemy. So yeah, An Enemy by Improvement Movement. It's probably fine. I'll just change my mind. All right, that was An Enemy by Improvement Movement. What did you think of that, Colin?
I think I loved those vibes. I love. I've said it many times, but I like when bands or music artists in general, they use the energy and the styles of older bands and things like that, and I think they do that quite a bit here. I think you akin them to the Beatles and Backseat Lovers. Yeah, is that what you said? And yeah, I can see that. I like that a lot. I think that they sounded great. I love the the punchiness of like the guitars and everything, and
Yeah, it's produced
yeah,
very well. Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I'd have to look at the lyrics to, you know, see what the song's about more. But I love the feel of it just in general.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like I might want to look at that and check out that album next
Yeah.
week too.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I thoroughly enjoy. A lot of the album has this kind of feel to it, which honestly, as I was listening to the song again, I'm like, I feel like I'm actually kind of proud of that Beatles and Backseat Lovers comparison. I feel like that encapsulates their sound pretty well. But yeah, I don't know. I really love the folky, very acoustic band tones of this whole thing. I mean, the vocals are stellar throughout the whole thing, to be honest. But I love how they build in this one, that like rhythm that they do, and the it's just I'll just take my mind. Like that whole
Yeah,
rhythmic section is so cool. It reminds me a lot of the Beatles, actually, the way that they're doing the messing with the timing and stuff there. And then there's that section where like there's like some horns and like low stuff that start coming in. It just I don't know. It feels very detail oriented, and I really like that kind of sound. And I don't know. A lot of this album was sticking out to me, and I think they sound great and deserve more listeners than they have. So yeah,
yeah, I would love to be one of them.
yeah, yeah. I would recommend that album. But yeah, I was actually just looking at the lyrics really for the first time, and I was like, I think this album looks like it has some breakup tones to it or something. I haven't fully delved into that part, to be honest. I was more so driving a truck around a virtual world and listening to it. So, um, but yeah, cool. All right. Well, do you have anything else to add for this week, Colin?
No, I think I've said most of the things that I want to say.
Yeah, we've both said stuff to this week. But if you're listening on streaming services, audio listeners, love you to death. Can't get copyright infringement on that after the next 2 months.
Nope.
So at least someone will love you guys to death, and that'll be us, the BrokeN Boys. And but you can come on over to YouTube. We're under the same name, BrokeN Boys, capital N, BOIS. And there you can see our beautiful profile pictures of what was my reaction to seeing the polls go red, and then also maybe what Colin's reaction was to seeing the polls go red. But
Yeah.
no, you can see these beautiful profile pictures. And yeah, also you can, in the description, you can see the Song of the Week playlists, that section that we just did, where you can
Mhm.
find links to 3 playlists down there. There's one down there for me, one down there for Colin, and one down there for both of us combined. And in those playlists, you can find Exit Music for a Film by Radiohead, or you can find An Enemy by Improvement Movement down there. Both of them will be in 2 of those 3 places. So go and check those out. Lots and lots of music in there nowadays. I mean, there has been for a while, but um, but go check those out. And yeah, on a personal end, we both have some stuff. For me, I make music, like Colin was mentioning, under the name Plaintive. I am making music under the name Plaintive. Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
hell yeah. And yeah, go check that out down there. I have an album out called Coping Mechanism. I think I got Spotify linked down there in Apple Music, and then I got a whole bunch of other stuff too. Um, and I have my Instagram down there, my album of the year page where I rate and review music. And I have um TikTok. You can listen to that Daily Mail cover. I do like. I think my vocals sound pretty decent there. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
just plugging, But and I don't know. Man, Love Cage almost doesn't feel appropriate this week. You know
But we have
what?
to people.
We do. You know what? Let's just play it straight. I'm right behind you with love in my heart and my arms open wide to you, dear viewer. Um, and that's just it. Got the love in my heart. And Yeah, Colin over here, he runs our socials, he runs our Twitter page, and that's where he updates when videos are posted, along with anything else that needs to be updated. And he also runs our TikTok page where he posts little funny clips of us. Usually I make the joke that we like to be funny on this podcast, but I feel like that actually needs to be said this week. So yes, we do like to be funny on this podcast.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so if you want proof of that, go check out that link to the TikTok page. Um, and yeah, he also has some personal stuff too. He's got an album of the year page where he rates and reviews music. He has a letterbox where he rates and reviews movies. Got anything on there for that movie you watched this week?
Yeah. Yeah. I reviewed and rated Rebel Ridge, so you can go check that out.
Go do that. Rated, reviewed, Rebel Ridge. And he also has an Instagram review page. And Colin,
Yep.
what is your relation to our dear viewer?
Well, with tears running down my face and in desperate need of a hug that I am this week, I'm going to be right in front of our dear viewer with you right behind them, and we're all just gonna come in for a nice, somber, tight love cage. And with Mike from behind and me in front with our dear viewer in the middle, we're just gonna embrace, and it's gonna be full of love and warmth
Mm,
in a nice, somber, but
comforting.
comforting,
Yeah.
and just nothing crazy this week. But we've had enough craziness, and I think we just need this nice little moment.
Yeah.
With my cheeks wet with tears, I'm gonna look up at you, and we're all gonna get through this. It'll be okay, and I'm gonna give you a nice, comforting smooch right on the cheek this week,
Mm,
and it's gonna be just a sign of we'll make it through. We'll be okay.
yeah.
We're gonna push on through. We're gonna stay alive, and we're gonna do this. So,
Yep.
and if you would like your very own love cage, they're not all somber like that, but they are
Mm.
all comforting.
They're all
And
loving.
they are all loving and comforting. So
Unlike
if you
unlike God. I don't know.
if you want your very own, all you got to do, dear viewer, is drop your addy in the comments below. Home address, apartment address, wherever you live, we will find you. You won't know when, you won't know where, but we will find you and give you your very own love cage.
Yeah.
So drop that addy, and we'll find you,
Yeah.
and you'll love it.
Oh,
So
I should have also mentioned this is a beautiful segue, but those links that we talked about earlier
yes,
with the mental health support, and I think there's also I was looking in there. There's like LGBTQ plus support in there as well. There's a whole bunch of that. I'm gonna have that be the top link down there, but
yeah,
if you were checking the description, you already saw it, but that will be there as well. So
yeah. So
yeah,
come back next week where we're hopefully in higher spirits
yeah.
and when we spin our wheel for our next artist analysis.
Oh damn,
So
we already doing that? I feel like we just did one.
sure,
All right.
I know. But all right, guys.
All right.
We love you. Stay alive.
Yes.
See you next week, guys.
See you next week. Love you. Bye bye.